Whoa, that's weird. Everything just kind of went topsy turvy on me. I don't like that. I got to switch this up. Hang on. Why? Riverside, what did you just do? Oh no.
I was on
Uh,
Riverside the other day and someone said they were having all sorts of issues with it.
yeah, like you were over here where the camera's at, and now you're over here, and that's not Riverside. Come on, man. Anyways, give me just a second, folks. Oh no, we're not trying to do
All
that.
right.
Yeah, they just messed everything up, all topsy turvy. Nah, I can't even move it now. We're just going to have to live with it. All right, and
Opportunity
here
for
we go.
growth.
Yes.
For learning.
Hello, and thanks for listening to Guidance in Recovery. I'm Keegan Reed, and every week I speak with guests to honestly explore recovery, sobriety, and the struggles that come with it while we find things that help us in our recovery journeys. Are you tired of all the AI talk that's going on in the world today? Don't worry, we're not talking about artificial intelligence, but rather authentic intelligence. Our guest today is the creator of the Metamorphosis universe, and her name is Soreya James. She doesn't do surface level BS. She has spent over 35 years living and studying human psychology through many experiences that helped show her the light. She has navigated 3 near death experiences, survived a massive public cancellation, and done a lot of healing along the way. She has developed a precise technology to remove the obstructions to the human spirit, and she is here to help us dismantle the myths of recovery and return directly to the experience of the soul. So, Saria, how are you doing today? And I've got to
Wow,
ask.
that's such a great intro.
Well, thank you. Uh, I hope you're doing well, but
Mm.
I've got to ask, what myth are you willing to or wanting to bust today?
I think the myth that, and this one's quite controversial, but to every bit of our pain and suffering that we immediately go towards medication, that it's that quick fix, go to the doctor, go to the specialist, go to the therapist, and outsource for something that our body naturally knows how to heal and how to transform, like through the sophisticated machinery called the human psyche.
Mm.
So medication or meditation, what do you choose?
Well, I know personally for me, I prefer the meditation, but I know that early on it was medication because in Western society, it's like, hey, you got a ouchie, you go put a band-aid on it and it
Yeah,
takes care of it. But it doesn't really work that way, does it?
it doesn't work. Maybe
No.
short term, but not long term.
Yeah. Hang on. I want to try this out real quick. Can you say something real quick?
Testing, testing, one, two, three.
Okay, cool. I'm locking it here. That switching layout, it used to not do that. Uh
Yeah, I can see it.
yeah, the Riverside is anyways. Like it's a growth opportunity. And growth opportunities usually don't come about in a way that's like, "Hey, you're ready for this, right? Come on in the door." It's like, "Oh, wait. Did you study for this test? Pop quiz, right?"
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your story and what got you into wanting to pursue meditation and the like, and what created the Metamorphosis universe?
Yeah, sure. Gosh, I always go, do I give the long story or the short story? I said, since the beginning of my pathway was when I was 19. So that was a long time ago. I mean, I'm in my mid 50s now. So we're talking sort of 35 years, 36 years ago. And I was in a really toxic relationship. I was drinking heavily. I was
Mm,
partying. I was, being a teenager, but not understanding how to actually navigate my teen lifestyle with grace and with health and vitality. And I found myself in a really dark space with depression and anxiety, and I kind of didn't know my way out, my way through. We're not really given the tools at school or, often through our parenting journey. So I came across a course called The Turning Point, and let's not confuse it with what's going on in the US called The Turning Point. It's not.
yeah.
It's not that.
No.
Um, and I ended up on this 3-day workshop with you know, what you would call like the misfits of life, those people that would you'd cross the street to avoid. And here I was as this, you know, teenager in a room with gang members and ex-prisoners and addicts and just people of so much diversity. And I felt so at home. I just felt like this is a place of belonging for me. Like my soul kind of went, these are my soul brothers and sisters. And we were taken through this very intense, immersive experience over 3 days where we got to do things that were not the norm, you know, like cathartic therapies and huge healing, transformational work. And I just found myself in in these moments of that weekend going, this feels so natural. This feels like a pathway that humans are meant to take. This feels like the natural healing journey. Having gone to doctors and specialists to try and fix my mental health back then, it was like, this is the way. And there was a
Mm,
moment where I had this big, beautiful Maori man. So Maori is our, you know, native culture here. Huge, big guy, tattoos and you know, troubled, and he was literally crying in my arms, and I was holding this space for him that was with so much compassion and so much love and connection. And he looked up at me afterwards and he goes, you were born to do this. I don't know where you came from, but that you were born for this, you know. And it was just like this moment of going, this is my path. This is my path to healing. This is my path of transformation, and this is the work I want to do. So metamorphosis sort of started then and there, even though I didn't know that that was what it was called, or
mhm.
you know, that's what I was really going through. But you know, life does that, right? Like when you're in the doldrums of life, like something comes along that cracks you open or
Mhm.
takes you into your, you know, your natural dark space, which is our cocoon, and then we have to kind of crack ourselves out of it. So that
Mhm.
was the beginning of a really, really long path of trying to navigate life through its, you know, ups and downs and everything that it was presenting to me. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, some early tools early on in my life, which
Mm.
I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, man, I mean, it sounds like it was a one heck of a rough start, and I mean, it's really good that you haven't forgotten that kind of stuff though either, because I mean, here's a quick question: if you forgot those kind of experiences, do you think that it would change who you are fundamentally?
If I'd forgotten them,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, those
Mm,
kinds of things are etched into your psyche, you know, like when you go that deep into therapy at such a young age, like it was almost like 5 years of therapy condensed into 3 days.
wow.
And it goes so deep into your cells and into the tissue layers that it etches a memory in the cells, you
Huh.
know. So I'm so grateful for having been given such profound tools at
Mm-hmm.
such a young age, and then I've just built on top of those and been the seeker and searcher of what else is there that's not talk therapy, that's not a pill, that's not a doctor telling me I've got something or diagnosing me with something. And so I've just been on this like hungry journey for for 3 decades.
Oh man.
Um, yeah, it's been pretty beautiful and also pretty crazy. Pretty
Uh,
crazy.
Well, I'm just glad that
Uh,
you've been able to do this kind of thing because I bet you've healed and or at least helped people heal a whole bunch. And I mean, I think that that's how we make this great change that we want to see in the world is by helping ourselves and then helping other people through that change that we help
yeah,
with ourselves, you know?
absolutely. Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I
Yeah.
feel so grateful for what I know and who I am and the amount of people that I've been able to support over the years, you know,
Hmm.
to guide them back to themselves, really.
Yeah.
It's a
And
privilege.
yeah, yeah, it is. And I love how you said like getting back to oneself because a lot of the things that we go through in life, in my experience, have been like separations of self.
Yeah,
And that's the part that's like, well, how do we fix that? And I don't know if there's, and I don't know if fix is the right word because it kind of makes it sound more mechanical. But
Mm.
I mean, do you think that fix is a good word, or do you think that there's one that you prefer?
I think that when we use the word "I need to fix myself" or "I need to fix someone" or something, we're then experiencing a sense of being broken. And none of us are actually broken. Like, it's a language that use, "Oh, he's so broken," or "She's so broken," and it what that does is it creates this kind of essence of, there is something really wrong with me. But at the level of the soul, which is the work that I do is always very soul led, is that there is nothing broken. It never was. It's just that we've forgotten who we are. And then
Mm.
we go and use substances or go and search for something outside of ourselves to help us remember. But it's really at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing to fix. There's only this to strip back and
Mm.
strip away and dissolve so that we come back to our natural state of being, which
Mm.
is wholeness, which is bliss, which is joy, which is love, which is light. And we're not talking some spiritual hippie stuff. It's the actual biology of the body, it's the truth.
Huh.
You know, we were a spark of light when we were conceived that came together with the two cells that then divided and created life itself. And then life conditions us and places all of these expectations and limitations and identities. And then we spend a lifetime trying to strip all that back. And that's the healing journey, or that's the human metamorphosis.
Mm.
Is that a lot of us spend our life locked away in the cocoon, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and we never crack open, or life never cracks us open. And
Mm.
we go through different evolutions of that as well, but there's nothing to fix.
Mm.
We're not broken. We've been told that. That's
Well,
my that's my belief. That's my belief.
yeah. And I
Mm,
think that I'd have to agree with you because, like you said, like fix means I'm broken. But if I'm broken, why am I here? Because it just doesn't, it's like you don't drive a broken car. And if I'm broken, why am I still walking and talking? You know?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
There's
and I,
definitely aspects of feeling broken.
mm-hmm,
Like a heartbreak from
move.
loss or grief is very
Yeah.
real. Breaking a bone, uh, breaking our virginity, getting broken in. There's aspects, using interesting examples, but there's aspects of the human nature that definitely feel like I feel really broken today,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not broken. Those are two
Yeah.
very different distinctions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us have that belief of brokenness of self, and that's what kind of holds us back. But kind of like what you were saying before, we kind of have these expectations thrown upon us by life, and we seem to feel like those are the rules we have to play with. We have to
Yeah.
stay in line with those. But you kind of help people challenge that belief and rewrite their beliefs. Am I kind of hitting like a little bit of what you do right there?
Yeah, essentially the way I work with people is that we have this, the limited mind, and then we have infinite intelligence. So at the very core of our being, the same part of us that beats our heart. Like, if you think about right now, your heart's beating, and you're not thinking about it. Your hair is growing, but you're not sitting there going, grow, grow, grow. Your digestion is working.
Uh-huh.
Like, you've probably had food at some point, and digestion is happening. And then a breath just happened, so lungs are expanding. Spleen is working to cleanse the blood. Liver is doing its job. Kidneys are doing their job. Everything's hands are moving. So there's this infinite intelligence in our bodies that heals a bone without us thinking about it. You have a cast put on, and you don't sit there for 6 weeks going, heal, 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 right?
Yeah.
But when there's something that goes on in our mental neuroses, or a cancer or an autoimmune disease or something that we go off to have diagnoses, we then give our power away.
Mm.
So there's this limited mind, which is very human, that creates limitations or has had limitations put upon us, where we then forget that we are infinite intelligence.
Mm.
So the work that I'm doing is I'm bringing these two pieces together to speak to each other.
Hmm.
So if I were to let go of the anxiety or the desperation that my limited mind works with in life by seeking or searching or, freaking out about something, going into fear or what have you, and bring my infinite intelligence in to speak to that, what would that say?
Mm.
What I get people to listen to the intelligence of their body by tuning in through the layers of the subconscious mind and into the very cells of the body where the old cell memories are stored, and then we can recreate those with new cell memories. So there's a whole kind of map, if you like, or a methodology. I don't necessarily like to use that word, but it's a word that people understand.
Mm-hmm.
That has our body speak to us because it has all the answers. It
Yeah.
has so much wisdom inside of it, but it's covered up with so much shit. Does
Oh
that make
man.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, it totally makes sense. And I mean,
Yeah.
the first question that I really have on that though is like, is that the same as intuition, or is intuition something that's more along the lines of like it's based off of pre-established experiences?
It's a little bit of both. So our intuition is connected to the space when the noise is moved out, is removed.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're removing pain or suffering or mental neuroses or whatever it is that's showing up that's obstructing us from living in grace, living in peace, living in knowing, that is the same thing as connecting to our intuition. But people seem to think that intuition is this mind. It's like it's a thought. It's knowing what I'm meant to do as opposed to knowing who I am, and that sense of self and sense of deeper wisdom will then guide us. So
Mm.
it's the same thing, but for me, intuition comes from the body,
Mm.
not from the mind. Yeah.
Mm.
But it does that through connecting your pituitary pineal glands, which are the master control glands, which then switch everything on into your knowing. But you've got to clear the space.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
intuition will only be on fire and be working if we have spaciousness. And most of us are so combated with noise and um, you know there's so much information and uh, what's the word that I'm looking for, just like what's coming at us
Mm-hmm.
from the world at the moment, that
Like
there's
overwhelm.
just no overwhelm. Yeah, I was thinking of a word that my son used the other day. He was like, Mum, it's just so, everything's so noisy,
So
with
loud.
so
Yeah.
loud. You're like, when do people actually just stop in stillness and silence to listen to their internal world rather than
Mm.
the external world? So that's the only way our intuition can fire up, is when
Hmm.
there's quiet. But yeah, it's
Mm.
body wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh. I love the way that that was just laid out because it's like intuition informs us of who we are, which should inform us of like which direction I want to go. Not necessarily saying like, hey, this is the way, this is the future kind of thing. It's saying like, how would you as your soul respond to the situation? Huh.
exactly. Yeah. And intuition or, body wisdom, it can't be heard without peace or without calm. So
Mm-hmm.
people are trying to make decisions out of impulse or out of desperation or out of insecurity, and then they fall into, the wrong relationship or the wrong job. Not that there's any right or wrong, really. Like every path will take you to where you need to go. But when we just take a moment to come into a place of peace and calm, and that's not always easy either, but there
Mm-hmm.
are ways. and sit and wait. Sometimes it's just a few breaths, and it's like, oh, what's the next natural step? Is something that I say a lot to myself. When there's overwhelm and you think about what I need to do in the future and how my life's going to turn out, etc., etc. It's like, well, hang on, what's the next natural step?
Hmm.
Just the next one. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, just make a cup of tea. You go, oh, okay. Or take a nap, take a
Uh-huh.
walk, take a
Yeah.
breath. And then you
Huh.
take that step, and then it's like, okay, now what? What now?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing in the future it's not existing anyway. It's not real. And that's in the past has gone. So it's like, just what's in your immediate future?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happens after this podcast? We don't know.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can definitely have an idea of what happens after we stop recording, but after that happens, who knows? Maybe the apartment starts falling down or something. I don't know. It's not up to me.
We don't
um,
know.
so you said though, like the immediate future. So are whenever you come across people that are really hesitant about trying to let go for a little bit, do you just say like, what's the next 10 seconds going to be? Or is it the next second? Like, do you give people a time frame to work with because they're still so conditioned or used to limits?
Yeah, it's different for everybody, obviously, but the
Mm,
majority of my clients that I've worked with are in some kind of suffering.
mm-hmm.
So I always bring them into their body with breath. Breath work's been a fad for a long time, or I've been doing breath work for 31 years, practiced as a holotropic breath worker, rebirther, way back. And so that's always been a go-to. So when somebody starts spiraling through the mind and into an anxiety of the future or a fear of the future, or, going
Mm-hmm.
back into the past, I will get them to close their eyes. I'll get them to place their hands somewhere on their body and bring them into their breath and just say, after a few breaths, what's here now?
Mm.
So that phrase, what's here now, engages the mind into having to come into the body and connect into the feeling or the emotion. Whereas if you ask the questions, well, why? The mind engages and wants to give you a really fancy answer,
Ah.
or even if you give it a timeline of, let's think about tomorrow only, it's going to spin out and break down over the next 24 hours. So what's here now?
Mm-hmm.
Take a
Huh.
breath. What's here now? One
Hmm.
word, one expression, just the pure raw emotion. So you're continuing to engage the the human psyche as opposed to the mental psyche. It's a
Hmm.
really, really different way of moving through something.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
The human versus the mental psyche. I've never heard of it put that way, but it does make a lot of sense because
yeah.
it's like my body can know things that my brain doesn't want to listen to sometimes. And that's the weird
Hmm.
part.
Yeah, yeah. And
um,
human broken down, Hu is light and Man is mind. So it's the light of the mind, which in
oh,
essence correlates to the light of the soul.
huh.
Whereas mental is the three mental bodies are your negative, your positive, and your neutral mind. So this is, you know, psychology 101. And so if you're engaging the mental body, you're
Mm-hmm.
engaging a very small aspect of the human, the light of the mind, which is the entire body.
Huh.
So we're better to engage 100% rather than 10%. Yeah.
Oh wow. Huh. I've never. How have I not heard of that human broken down like that before? That I'm
Yeah.
going to have to do some like exploration on that one on my own. That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's like
So that comes
so
through the Eastern philosophy.
through what?
That comes through the Eastern philosophy, the Eastern teachings.
Oh, okay, really
Mm.
cool. And I
Mm.
was actually just about to ask, like, so you've done a whole bunch of teachings throughout the world, and you've also went through 3 near-death experiences. So,
Yeah.
like, how did those 2 concepts, like, play on each other? Because Western society has its own teachings and ideas of everything, and then the Eastern is almost like the exact opposite almost, but at the same time, they can still complement each other in weird ways. So, how did all that work on your journey and get you to where you're at now?
So my journey obviously started with, Western medicine and Western psychology and going into teachings through studying books and studying psychotherapy, psychosynthesis, journey therapy, which is a cellular healing modality, and then yoga therapy. And then eventually in my late 20s, early 30s, I found myself just naturally moving towards the teachings of the East, like the Buddhism and the Hinduism and the Sikhism and yogic philosophy. And I just remember reading the scriptures and going, this makes so much more sense to me. This feels more like home to me. This feels
Uh-huh.
like the truth to me. And then
Mhm.
as I dived in a little bit deeper, I realized that the Eastern philosophies and psychologies and teachings are 30,000, 35,000 years old, whereas the work of Carl Jung is like maybe 140, 150. And then the work of
Yeah.
somatic psychology has only been around for 40 years. So what are you going to trust?
Yeah.
Who are you going to trust? You're going to trust
Uh-huh.
the, you know. So then I thought, well, I'm going to go to the motherland and actually
Mhm.
find out for myself. So I traveled to India, and you can't help but you can't help but know the truth when you're sitting in these temples and sitting at the feet of gurus and Sikhs and masters and yogis, and you look into their eyes or you feel the energy, in so many of the different places in India, and it just doesn't compare to sitting in a psychiatrist's office or sitting with a psychotherapist. It's like, and I've tried it all, right?
Mhm.
Sitting with a counselor versus being in a temple and sitting in prayer and meditation and having a visceral experience in your body and feeling that shift happen. It's like it's palpable.
Mhm.
So yeah, about I don't know, just 20, I think it's 23 years I've been practicing yoga and meditation. Um,
Oh.
and there's just, they're so vastly different, so vastly different. And I know that what works for me and what's worked for, hundreds and hundreds of clients over the years, you can either sit down and talk with them and loop them back into their childhood for years and years on end,
Mhm.
or you can get them to close their eyes, put them into some form of breath practice that's very precise to what their issue or their symptoms are, and get the body's intelligence to do the work, and
Hmm.
then put them through, a form of meditation or working with mantra, which is a very powerful healing modality that works with changing the brain and body chemistry. And I just
Huh.
I just keep going back to the Eastern teachers, like the monks. When I was in
Uh-huh.
Nepal last year, and you go into the temples and there's the monks, they just have a light and a depth and an authenticity about them that no therapist in the West that I've ever been to or that I know has that, including
Huh.
myself.
Huh.
So,
Oh, man.
and I'm not discounting what therapists are doing
Mhm.
in the West,
Mhm.
but I know what feels true for me,
Mhm.
and that is to reach a much deeper place,
Yeah.
um, through the Eastern teachings.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I totally understand that you're not trying to downplay one or the other, and I think everyone's journey is totally individual, and everyone's journey is
absolutely.
like valid. It's legit in a lot of different ways, and that's the thing too is that like I think the people that are like the psychotherapists of the West are trying their best to do what they can for people with the information that
Yeah,
they're allowed to work with, especially, because
absolutely.
so it's
Absolutely. But just sorry, carry on.
oh
Go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead. You
I was just because I captured a part of the question that you asked before um, that I'll give an example about. So when I was in the US, so the three near death experiences. One was when I was in Saudi Arabia when I was 30 years old and I had a burst appendix, and because I was
oof.
in Riyadh, which is like
Mm,
the capital where women are very suppressed, I had an experience where I wasn't able to get to a hospital quick enough.
mm,
I'd gone into tetany, which is where the blood poisons so much that your body actually goes into paralysis.
mm-hmm.
So the door had to be broken down, and I by the time I actually got taken to the hospital, they wouldn't call an ambulance, or it was just so crazy. It's crazy. I
Wow.
had lost. My blood was so poisoned that I was in full paralysis, and my heart had stopped beating. So I got a full blood transfusion, and I'm here to tell the story, but from that was a huge part of my healing journey of knowing how miraculous my body is, right? If it can go to that length of
Mm,
poison and toxicity and still come back.
mm-hmm.
But in terms of the teachings, like 2 years ago, I was in the US and driving. We drive on the other side of the road, and I had a head-on collision. I
Oh.
came out of a country road one morning, and I just kind of didn't clock where I was, and
Mm,
pulled onto the wrong side of the road and had a really severe head-on collision. And I don't know quite how I came out of that alive. Like if you saw the photos of the car, it's just crazy.
mm,
But this is the awareness of what happened after I was pulled out of the car, because the car was smoking and I was unconscious and I got pulled out of the car. And when I came back, one of the first awareness that I had was something's just happened. Are people hurt? Am I hurt? And I started scanning my body.
hmm.
There were no broken bones. Okay, can I move everything? Awareness, an accident has happened. I've come out of consciousness. Am I breathing? Yes. And I am alive. Okay. Scanning my body. No broken bones. Scanning my body. Okay. Breath is painful. So maybe there's some ribs, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
tuning into my body and noticing, okay, there's contraction, there's pain at the rib cage. So I'm using my breath and I'm using my awareness and I'm using a specific mantra and practice to support the mind from going into fear, um, anxiety, panic, shock,
Uh-huh.
all the things that would naturally happen if someone
Mm-hmm.
were in a head on collision. And the
Yeah.
people around me were kind of like, what's this woman doing? And I just kept on putting my hands up and saying, just don't touch me and leave me until I can move through the shock. Let the shock move through my body so it's not locking in as trauma, which then
Mm,
later becomes PTSD. And I probably sat on the side of the road for like 20 or so minutes while I just allowed my body to do what it needs to do.
huh.
And then from there, people were trying to get me an ambulance and get me into hospital. I'm like, I'm not going to a US hospital if I can support myself. Like, if there's no
No.
broken bones and there's no blood, that's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's this awareness of, am I going to get put into a hospital? Am I going to get drugged up? Am I going to get, all the things that happen, especially in US hospitals, a little
Mm,
different to New Zealand?
yeah.
Or am I going to work with my own body's wisdom to know how to support what's just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the
Huh.
majority of humans would do option A,
I
yeah, because
would.
they go into shock, trauma, pain, suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that I've been taught is like, no matter what happens to us, whether it's a sickness, a virus, an accident, whatever it is, it's like when you're that aware, when you have this huge amount of like knowledge that sits in your cells, you can come back into this. You can be in the moment and support yourself through it
Hmm.
and go, this is going to pass. Right? I had that tattooed on my arm. This too shall, I don't know if you can see that, but this too shall pass.
Uh-huh.
This too shall pass through simply observing. That's very
Huh.
much a Buddhist teaching.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah,
That's really cool. And my therapist, she had that saying, like a little plaque on her side of like, this too shall pass. And it
yeah,
got like, that has become kind of a mantra almost for me, but I'm just really glad that you were able to make it out of both of those situations because holy cow, like talk about life changing. And not only that, but eye opening. And I
yeah,
also agree with you. Don't go to a U.S. hospital, especially via ambulance ride, if you can avoid it, because
yeah.
not only will you be drugged up and like all this other stuff, you'll find yourself in a lot of debt, and that is
Yes,
another kind of trauma that we don't want to talk about. Ugh. So,
exactly. So there has to be an awareness of that, right?
yeah.
Because like a fear, someone in fear would have just automatically gone, yes. But these
Hmm.
people were saying to me, I need to get you on an ambulance. We need to get you an ambulance. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate your concern. I know my body.
Hmm.
I will listen to my body. If there's something really, really wrong, they're like, but you have to do it. And they were scared.
Yeah.
And, perhaps that I was going to sue them. God, I don't know. I don't know. But,
Hmm.
I was like, just, and then they said to me, are you on drugs? And I'm like, no. Have you been drinking? I'm like, no, I've been meditating. I'm like,
Oh.
just back off and let me listen to my, but you're speaking a foreign language, aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people. I know a lot of people will sit there and decline an ambulance ride nowadays because just the financial aspect alone. But that's the really cool part is that you're able to tune into your body and be able to move through the stuff that is otherwise going to trap itself in the body, which just makes it harder to deal with in the long run.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so, like, I know one of the things that has been brought up before is like where animals go through something super crazy, like a life threatening experience, and then they'll just like keep on walking like nothing happened, but they'll shake it out. But I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really do that after a head on collision like that, right?
Well, why not?
You said you were in a lot of pain. So, I mean, but at the same point, if you know how your body works, you can still release that energy, but without having to shake.
Well, the body shakes regardless. So I remember this, like, when I was sitting on the side of the road, and it was the same when I had an accident a year later, and then I had dengue fever a year after that. I've
Ugh.
had a time, I tell you. And when you're really self-aware, you let the
Mhm.
body do what it needs to do. So there's no
Mm.
holding, there's no contraction. So I remember sitting on the side of the road, and my body was doing this like,
Mm.
my hands were shaking like this. So yes, my ribs were cracked. That was the case, and
Mm.
and there were tears, and like I let out this almighty scream, which scared everyone else around me. But I was just like, this is what has to happen. The
Uh-huh.
scream that didn't happen upon impact, because it happened so fast,
Mhm.
needed to then release from the body post
Mhm.
impact.
Uh-huh.
And this is what I do. I just like let my body do what it needs to do. Now the people around me freaked out, but oh well, that's their responsibility to deal with it. So this is the thing, like an animal or a baby will organically shake or
Mhm.
cry, but humans go, oh, I've got to keep quiet. I can't let that out. I can't be seen. I can't be heard. That's not okay. That'll upset somebody. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to let my body do the work it knows to do.
Mm.
So,
Huh.
and the same when I had the scooter accident a year later, and I was laying on the asphalt on the road, and, broken and bleeding and what have you. And the sound that came out of my body was like this ancient howl.
Ugh.
And I remember all these people standing around me, concerned for me, kind of going, is she okay? And I was like, for fuck's sake, just let my body do what it needs to do. But most people don't understand that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we're so shut down and so contained that that's not okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Shame.
like shame, and women that give birth have to be quiet, and it's like, no,
Mm-mm.
let that sound out of your body.
Yeah. 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 I did the only thing that I can think back to for my own personal experience to relate for a scream of sorts is whenever I broke my femur. And like that was I had never screamed like that before in my entire life. I don't know. I don't
Mm,
want to do that ever again because that was by far the worst pain in my existence
yeah, I
thus far,
bet.
knock on wood. But I mean, if you bring up a really, really good point though, of like having to let stuff out. And you'd said earlier in this interview that you also did something, I think you called it cathartic therapy
Mhm.
or cathartic release. So is that something that you tell people to or teach people to do, is to like tap into what needed to be let out years ago and just like have a scream session or something?
Not so much anymore. So, back in when was that? The 80s, early 90s. That was kind of the rave, if you like, cathartic therapy and gestalt therapy, and
Uh-huh.
yelling at each other,
Mm.
pretending like you the boyfriend or the father or the perpetrator or what have you, and that has its place. And there's still people offering that type of therapy, but what I found over the last 20 years of becoming a journey practitioner and a yoga therapist or meditation therapist is that the more quiet you become, the more softer and more gentle the body becomes, the more you're actually able to let the energy burn through from the inside. So
Hmm.
rather than, and it's helpful every now and then to go, "Arr!" and, smash a cushion, a pillow, not somebody else. Um, but what that does is it's like a quick fix.
Mm.
It's an energy output, an energy release. When you sit still with your emotion, so energy in motion,
Mhm.
and feel the rage or the pain or the sadness or the grief inside of you, and simply turn in. So what I mean by that is you close your eyes and you can feel it. You feel it viscerally in the body, right? Especially like an anger or a rage.
Mhm.
If you act that out, you're releasing it, but you're not giving it its full capacity.
Hmm.
When you sit still and
Uh-huh.
you say, there's an energy moving through me without naming it. So, not
Uh-huh.
saying it's anger, not saying it's sadness, not saying it's whatever it is. There's an
Uh-huh.
energy moving through me, and you sit completely still and watch it. Within no more than 90 seconds, it moves and it
Hmm.
shifts and it changes, because you're not adding a story, you're not adding energy to it, you're not giving it a job,
Mhm.
you're not doing anything with it other than just observing it. And then you go beneath it. You notice where it's sitting in the body and you drop into what's beneath it. And there's always another emotion underneath it.
Mhm.
So, generally, our surface emotions might sit something like irritation,
Mhm.
annoyed,
Mhm.
frustrated. So, there's the mind. And then you go into pissed off, angry, rageful. And then
Mhm.
underneath that, sometimes shame,
Mhm.
guilt, grief, hurt. And then underneath that's like, I don't know, like relief. And then we
Hmm.
generally go into a void, like just
Huh.
a I don't know, which can sometimes show up like a helplessness,
Uh-huh.
hopelessness. And generally people will then go back up. Oh, but I'm frustrated that I feel helpless. And you go through these
Ah.
cycles.
Uh-huh.
If you go in underneath that to the darkest, deepest place, to the
Uh-huh.
rage, to the pain, to the suffering, underneath that is bliss.
Huh.
So we
Weird.
bury through our emotions layer by layer by layer by layer. Underneath that is joy, not happiness, but a natural state of joy. Underneath
Huh.
that is love. Underneath that is peace.
Huh.
So, but the human mind is so used to looping
Mm.
through the patterns. I feel pain, take a pill. I feel pain. I feel anger projected onto someone. I feel sadness, go and have a drink. I feel
Mm-hmm.
something, go and do something for it, rather than sitting quiet with it and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging it like a small child trying to get your attention. Give it some love, give it some compassion.
Huh.
It's a long
Wow.
answer to your question, but it requires some depth.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing, though, right? Like, this, any meaningful healing is not going to be something that can be done like even in a 1 hour conversation per se. Like, I think that it's a great head start, but there's so much nuance to it. There's so much different things and complexities and things that need to be explored in that individual journey to actually access what needs to be done. And if we just do the normal thing of like, kind of like what you said, like, oh, I'm sad, I'm going to go drink. Oh, I'm hurt, I'm going to go take a pill. Then it's like it just perpetuates that whatever it was. And for me, that was like it's like a rubber band effect. You know, I was running from my pain for so long by drinking that whenever I stopped and got into recovery, no one told me that I had to deal with emotions again. And learning how to deal with that just sucked. But it feels like way better. And that's the hard part, though, is learning to sit with it. And you also said something that as you were explaining it, my brain was like, so let it fizzle out, kind of like a toddler that's just sitting there having a tantrum of sorts. And you're just like, no, you're just going to like
Yeah.
wear yourself out eventually and get to whatever it actually is, or get past it. Like, that too shall pass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and so it's not
I mean,
necessarily saying we're neglecting ourselves. We're just saying that there's something. And so here's something that's weird too, because you didn't say, well, you said to not give it more of a story. That story is kind of what helps perpetuate its existence, right? And so
yeah.
that's what creates that loop, is the story.
Yeah. Well, if you think about a child, like a
Uh-huh.
toddler, they might have a little tantrum because they're not getting the thing that they want. I mean, that's generally why they have tantrums, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like we all have a toddler sitting inside of us that is not getting the thing that they want. They're not getting the attention. They're not getting the man. They're not getting the woman. They're not getting the job. They're not getting the fix. So if we give that toddler attention by asking it why and trying um, to reason with it, and yes but, yes but, yes but, yes but, it's just going to get more and more and more frustrated.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, this is to the parents out there, because I'm a parent and I did it really wrong for a while and then figured it out. When my son was tantruming, what I used to do is I used to sit down. So I'd get down to his level and I'd sit cross legged and I'd open my hands on my knees and I'd say, I'm here when you need me, darling.
Hmm.
And then I'd sit and be quiet. And he'd go, and then kind of look up at me and be like, she's not giving me any attention, but what she's giving me is space. And they
Hmm.
used to last like seconds. Whereas if I
Mm-hmm.
was like, stop, and creating a story and a drama and an upset and trying to get him to do something through control, he would just blow up. So that's the same for our emotions.
Uh-huh.
It's the
Huh.
same for our emotions. When an emotion arises, if we go, oh God, I'm so tired of feeling this way. I'm shitty and I shouldn't, I feel like such a fraud because I'm a therapist and I shouldn't feel this way. And so, versus going, oh, sadness is here. Okay, what if I don't even label it that? Oh, there's a density or an intensity inside of my heart. I'm just going to be with it. I don't need
Hmm.
to know why. I don't need to know what it's about. I don't need to know how to fix it. Simply being with it, giving it space,
Hmm.
not getting busy, not distracting, not hiding, not avoiding, not plastering, just being with it.
Oh, wow. Huh.
And when you give it space, it just dissolves. It's kind of like, oh. I'm safe.
Mm.
She's holding me. She's listening to me.
Yeah.
I can relax now. It's really simple. It's really simple.
Huh. Wow. And I mean, you say it's simple, but as we all know that it's hard to get to it being simple,
Hmm.
kind of like the 12 steps,
Absolutely.
because I've
Yeah.
heard the 12 steps they're simple, but they're not easy or something along those lines. I forget exactly how it was said, but I was like, damn, they're right. But real
Yeah.
quick, I have noticed that we are getting near the end of this episode, unfortunately. So, one question I do have is, do you think that we could see you back on in the future? Because I don't think that we've dug deep enough, and I feel like we're still like surface level, but we've got a little bit down there, but there's a lot more to
Mm.
explore.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd be honored. I'm here in service.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your website, where can people find you if they're looking to go through a metamorphosis with you?
So soreyajames.com.
Okay.
And oh, look at that. It's right there. And yeah, I mean, the way I love to connect with people is just through a conversation. I don't do any sales funnels, or I don't do a lot of social media. It's like this connection and a
Mm,
conversation about what you need and what support you need. Sometimes it's as much as just having a conversation
mm,
and having one little spark of awareness. Like, I get it that when you are deep in your in the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole, that it's going to take some steps to feel life, to feel light, to feel free again.
mm-hmm,
But it's that one natural step, like just one little step.
uh-huh.
And there's a beautiful saying that if you take one step towards grace, it takes 1,000 steps towards you. And
Ooh.
whenever I say that, I feel really emotional, but it's so true.
Mm,
It's so true
huh.
that, I've been in the darkest places in my life, and this this painting here represents, the change and transformation that I've had. And I totally believe that if one person can come through, then we all can.
Mm, yeah. You, I don't think I've
So
ever heard that saying you take a step towards grace and it takes 1,000 steps towards you. Because yeah,
it's
that
beautiful, isn't it?
uh-huh. Huh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oof. Ugh.
Yeah, that one
And
gets you, hey?
yeah,
That
yeah,
one
that
gets me like,
yeah. Oof. Huh. And man, I think that's one of those things though too is that like I know for myself at least, I don't want to speak for everyone, but grace is one of those things that's like I don't deserve grace because I should be better than where I'm at. I shouldn't be beating myself up. I know better. Kind of like what you were saying, like even therapists get sad and have hard times and like sometimes a therapist needs a therapist, much like a dentist will
yeah,
need a dentist.
yeah,
So
yeah,
uh and
absolutely. I mean, we're all human. We're all human, and we go through our own struggles and challenges. I mean, I went through something with my son on Sunday that broke me open, like cracked
mm,
my heart,
mm,
painful. And I'm so grateful that I have the awareness and the tools to be able to support him and hold him as he's
mm,
going through his own journey of recovery.
mm.
Like, he's literally in that place right now, as opposed to being a mother that just doesn't know, you know.
Mm,
And all I could do for him was hold him. Like, he just needed the mother's heart, because we are entrained to our mother's heart. So
mm,
if I'm in anxiety and worry and fear about what he's going through, that's not supportive. So here I am having the 6 foot 21-year-old just lying in my arms, sobbing, and just saying to him, just let go, darling, let
mm,
go. You're safe,
mm,
And so just so much gratitude to to have, these beautiful gifts and blessings that I've been given to support whoever it is that ends up in the space.
Yeah. And I gotta say, he's lucky to have a mother like you as he goes through the journey of recovery, because I mean, it's hard. Recovery is no joke, whether it's through traumas, whether it's through addictions, or a mixture of the two. And I mean, it's one of those things that we have to figure out our own path. And I mean, you're doing journey work, and so I think it's just even more than fitting. It's kind of like it's your test, it's his test, and at the same time, it's just going to help you help other people that much more. So, and I just think it's beautiful that like you still hold that space for him, because like it's crazy in this world today, and it is crazy
really
to
is.
Yeah. And
My
I
nana
mean,
used to say, God only gives us as much as we can handle. Sometimes I used to go, not happy with God today. But it's the truth, like we're built for resilience, and we're built for life's challenges, and we just have to keep standing up and facing them with as much love and compassion. Compassion's the key to get through. It really is.
Yeah.
Without that, we're lost.
Yeah, I agree. And you reminded me of a saying that I heard. Oh, I think it was on the internet, and it was something that was like, maybe the things that you're going through are getting you ready for the things that you asked for, or something like that. And I was like, damn it, I asked for too much. So
yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's in divine timing, isn't it? Not our timing.
Yep. And speaking of divine timing, my sponsor has hit me with the way that the universe or higher powers like to answer our prayers. And it's yes right now, no not yet, if you insist, or no, I've got something better. And
I like that.
yeah. But I know that I've been given that third option a few too many times, because it's like, I want this really bad. And it's like, well, if you insist, here you go. And I'm like, be careful what you wish for. That's where that saying comes from. Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So right quick, we are right near the end. Do you have anything that you'd like to leave the audience with for this evening?
I feel like I've shared quite a lot, but I guess just, like we're all in some form of transformation always. Like that, we're always either in a place of suffering or a place of elevation. And it's like wherever you are in your journey, like just keep trusting and knowing that there's always a way through. Like there's a way through every block. There's a way through every barrier, no matter how much of in a dark place you are or how transcended you are in your journey. It's like life's always going to keep bringing you those roadblocks, and we have this incredible ability to find our way through. So just keep trusting that, and reach out for support, reach out for help. We all need each other now more than ever. We're all guiding each other home. Yeah, and thank goodness for these kinds of mediums as well, where we get to meet beautiful people that we would otherwise not connected with.
Yeah.
So stay tuned in and tuned up.
Yeah. Ooh, stay tuned in and tuned up. I love that. And you just made me realize that it's a good thing to be grateful for the issues or challenges that I'm going through now, because again, later ones might be more difficult. So it's like, well, at least I'm not doing the more difficult one now. And so I don't know, just a weird little shift of perspective on my own end. So, Soreya, thank you so much for being on Guidance and Recovery. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to our next conversation, because it's just going to be that much more awesome.
Me too. Let's go deeper.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Thanks for having me, Keegan.
Of course. These kind of conversations are going to reach the people that need it the most whenever they need it. And like that's the thing is that we never know who needs to hear what and when. So whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Touching one soul makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yep, it sure does. But with that being said, everyone else out there, thank you for listening to Guidance and Recovery on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, try to love yourself, love others if you can, but you got to try to love yourself first. Be your favorite version of yourself today. And if you're having a mental health crisis, you can dial 988 or text 741-741. And if you don't want to, and if you're in the LGBTQ plus community, you can dial the Trevor Project up in Canada. And I mean, again, just stay tuned in and stay tuned up. So we'll see y'all next time. This has been Soreya and this has been Keegan, and we wish you a wonderful journey. That being said, much love. Shalom.
Much love.